welcome back everyone to another episode of Get to Know the Pro. My name is Sam Fiorella and I run the Echo Means Business community for Echo. And today we are interviewing another UAG member, another one of our new members this year, Randy Dulin. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me be a part of this.
This is good. I'm sure that everybody wants to get to know you a little bit better. Why don't you, on that note, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, the type of work that you do.
Sure. So I'm Randy Dolan, and I'm from Glen Burnie, Maryland, which is just south of Baltimore, Maryland, about 45 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. And I run a lawn care company where about 95% of what we do is cut grass. And by we, I mean me.
But you're a solopreneur.
Absolutely.
How long have you been in the game?
I started part-time in 2015 and went full-time in 2016.
Okay. There's been a running theme of the interviews that I've been doing lately around this whole concept of part-time and when do you make that jump to full-time, or do you just stay part-time and use it as a side hustle? What was it for you? What was it always the plan to start part-time as an experiment and then move full-time?
No, actually not at all. I was working full-time for the state of Maryland as a foster care worker. Loved that job, but it did not pay at all. I was working with a college degree, and I honestly, in a couple of years here, I'll be making more at McDonald's if I'd done that instead, So my intention was to retire doing that, but it didn't make enough money. And so my mother actually had recommended maybe cutting grass on the weekends. My father had run a lawn business when I was a kid, and I'd worked with him sometimes. And so she said that, maybe start a lawn business. You can do that on the weekends, but do not go full time. Do not do that.
Why?
Just because, Maryland is very weird weather. So, the lawn season is not that long. We start cutting in April and they're usually wrapping up by the end of October. And then leaf season is only about 6 weeks. And then you've got this 3 or 4 month span that I'm in right now where there's just nothing to do. It might snow, it might not. We actually are having our first snow that I think we've had in 3 years. So, it tends to stay pretty quiet. And, if you're not wise with your money, it can be pretty difficult. So that was my intention. However, things this could be a 45 minutes, just how I got into the business. But let's just say my life was very, very, very complicated working for the state of Maryland. And my son started having some medical issues, which just further complicated everything. And so something had to give. And I decided the state of Maryland was what was going to have to give. And so I think, as I referenced, we're recording this in February. This is the dead time for Maryland lawn care. I quit my job at the state of Maryland in February to go full-time in the lawn business. And just kind of jumped in, went from, I had 15 regular mowing clients working part-time, and said, well, if I was able to do 15 on, working part-time, I'm sure I could do more going full-time. And went to sign everybody up, and 10 of them had left me. so I went into my first season as a full-time guy with 5 customers. Fortunately, it didn't stay that way long, but
today, so that was 2016. Today we're in 2021, and what are you going into this season with?
So, we're still sending out renewals. So, if I was to tell you right now, we don't have that many. But by the beginning, I usually run about 100 to 125 active customers at a time. By the time April started last year, I was up, which is when we started actually cutting. I was up to 70 active accounts, and by the middle of summer, it's up to 100, 125. And there's no reason to expect it would be any different this year.
That's quite a jump from 5.
Yeah. Well, when I first started, I didn't have any money. and I wasn't interested in getting into any kind of debt. And so I actually learned a method from a guy on YouTube. This was when you can't do this anymore. But the right way I initially got my customer base was by spamming Craigslist. I don't think there's any other way to describe that. I think there's two Craiglists in my area, the Annapolis one and the Baltimore one. The Annapolis one, the farm and garden section usually has around 200, 250 ads on it at any given time. And in 2016, at least 200 of those ads were mine.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Well, the state of Maryland, I'm sure, is the worse off for not having you as part of their team. But it sounds like the grass of Maryland seems pretty happy.
They should be. I mean, they've got me involved now.
So that's is your mother proud of you now?
Yeah, well, it's really funny. We were just having this conversation with somebody else, and I mentioned that same thing that she had said. Don't. Actually, it's going to bother her that we're spending this much time on this video. But she actually said she was really proud that I had made the jump. That she's really glad that that's what I did.
That's good. I'm sure your dad would have been proud too. Would have been proud.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit then about some of the challenges in that growth. I mean, we just posted one of your videos that you actually had on your channel that we stole and put onto Echo Means Business until you start ramping up with your own original content on the community regarding managing so many accounts. Because I know that one of the challenges that a lot of pros out there have is the, keeping it all organized, especially as a solopreneur, like without anybody in the back office managing the collections, the reminders, the communications, the customer service issues, while you're out there actually getting things done. What's been if you're going to give like one piece of advice in terms of managing that growth and managing that number of properties in the court as a solopreneur, what would that be?
Make sure you're using the right software for what you're trying to do. For me, I started off, when I was part-time, I don't even know how to explain what I'm about to say, but I was using PayPal to manage my customers in 2015. I'm not even confident how that's possible, but I know that's all I had. And then 2016, when I went full-time, I started using Yardbook, which is a really great software for new guys, old guys, doesn't matter. It's a great way, but it's a great way to get your feet wet, and it's free. But I needed something because I'm so disorganized. I really needed a solution that would just take care of all the organization for me. And so the single biggest thing I did in my business was I started using Service Autopilot. And I signed up for what at the time was their most expensive version of their software. They have since gotten so much more expensive now. But I signed up for that, and having an all-encompassing CRM solution that handles all my billing, that handles all my customer management, the emails, scheduling, just everything. That was a game changer for me because so much of what I'm able to do is just automated. Mm-hmm. Invoicing at the end of the month is like a 10-second process, where before it was a several-hour process. It just making sure you got the right software, and it's the one thing I'm willing to spend money on. I am such a tightwad in every other area of my business, but it's outrageous how much I spend yearly on software.
Well, if from the sounds of it, again, from 5 to 100 plus, it sounds like it was a wise investment.
Yeah, it was. And honestly, another benefit of it is it puts me in contact with businesses that are much bigger than I am. Because Service Autopilot, I don't want to turn this into an ad for them, but it's a very complicated software to use. And so they have a Facebook group that you can join where you can ask questions and people tell you how to do stuff. Well, the fantastic thing about that, Service Autopilot wasn't necessarily made for solo guys. So every company in that group is so much larger than I am. So when I ask a question, I'm not asking somebody who's been in the business for 6 months. I'm asking questions of people that have been in it for years and been successful. So it really is just it's a gift that keeps on giving.
That's excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully some of our listeners will that are watching this video will get inspired by it, give it a shot. If you're in that boat, check them out. It's not one of our sponsors, but hey, Maybe they should be after this. um, so why don't you tell everybody something interesting about you that no one else knows?
Interesting thing about me that no one else knows. Oh goodness.
Not business related.
Not oh man. Hmm.
You got 11 toes or something weird?
No, I don't have that. I guess this would be all right. Well, yeah, this is very random and very weird, and I wish I could think of a better example because I think most people are going to find this odd. I am a massive, massive, massive fan of Christian rap.
That's
uh,
not that
I,
weird.
Me and my best friend, we started listening to this stuff in like 2002, and it's just we love listening to the stuff from the 90s and the early 2000s. I actually got one of the all-time Christian rap record on vinyl from 1995. I had to pay $50 for it. It was like a big deal when I got it. And so if I was ever to sit down and talk music with someone, I would think it was cool. My best friend would think it was very cool, and you would have no idea who we were talking about.
Well, yeah, you're right. I don't know that I would. I'm not a connoisseur of Christian rap music, but I don't actually think that's all that weird. But it is definitely interesting. Something. I mean, the whole purpose of these videos that we're doing with the UAG members, and soon we're going to be rolling this out to all the members of our community to do a member of the week.
Yeah.
Is that it's for people to just to get to know you a little bit better outside of your mentorship and advice and videos that you put out in our community. So that's very cool. You are a new member, so last question that I'll put out there to you. I've been asking all the new members in this series. First reactions. You were just onboarded a month ago, so it's all very new to you. But give us a sense of your first reactions to being a UAG member, being part of this group.
So honestly, there's two big things that have really stuck out to me. I actually had to call Brad after we got done the training.
Yeah,
the orientation, because I said, Brad, I just need to make sure I understand what's going on and that what I'm hearing is correct. This. But there's two things that really stuck out to me as very surprising. One of which I don't think is even a feature of the program is that the WhatsApp group I'm loving. I've learned a lot from being in that group and just listening to people talk. It goes way beyond the tacos or your abhorrence of cheap Italian food. But it's just it's been there was a conversation that was going on about marketing and Facebook marketing and EDDM, and I was just reading along, acting like I knew what people were talking about, but I was actually taking notes. I mean, so that's been a really valuable thing to me. And then the other thing that really surprised me is the fact that Echo people, high up Echo people, are actually involved in this and actually answer your questions or participate in the conversation. I'm a very skeptical person. I'm very optimistic, but also skeptical. And so when I was hearing things that like they would be listening and paying attention, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll bet they will. But I've only been in this, it hasn't even been a month, but I think I can think of 5 or 6 different situations where a question has been asked, and the name that's popping in my head is Ken from Echo, has responded with yeah, which really kind of took me by surprise. I'm not trying to sound like an ad for Echo, but I was really surprised that they actually are a part of this, because my assumption has always been with these types of programs that they hire a guy like you and say, hey, handle this stuff so that we don't have to deal with it and call it done. But it's actually very interactive. Like I actually think if I had a question, I think actually would get answered, which
yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, so for the audience out there that maybe doesn't understand, I run a company called Sensei Marketing. We are an independent company. We I came up with the idea of Echo Means Business after a long conversation with Echo about their desire to reach out to the community and help small business owners grow. This is a program that we run on behalf of Echo. So while me and my team, or my team and I do the day to day, Echo is listening. And I can tell you that from the back end, it's not just Ken. It's the vice president. We weren't together face to face this year for orientation like we typically are with the new members every year. But you'll remember that those whole 3 days that we were together online, the president of Echo was there,
Yep.
listening in, and all of the VPs. So yeah, they definitely care about what they're saying, what the audience is saying, and I think that's reflective in all the changes that have been happening based on the feedback from you guys. But I'm glad you like the the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
It
I,
gets
I,
a
I
little
wasn't,
overwhelming,
well, yeah, I wasn't expecting that because I mean, like I was telling Brad,
and
I
that's
text,
Brad Bear for the rest of you,
yeah,
Copper Creek
yeah,
Nuts.
yeah, I was fortunate to kind of make friends with him before all this, but I was telling him I don't text. If you eliminate my family, I've got my best friend, and then that's it. Like I don't talk to anybody on text, and so to have a group that's got 50 or 60 messages a day, or that's probably more than that,
Yeah.
was a bit overwhelming at first.
Yeah, but it's useful and often entertaining group. But
Yeah,
I think that's one of the benefits of the UAG program. And this is not about the UAG program necessarily. You just happen to be a member. But it's the camaraderie. And every year that we've been doing this, we're going into our 6th year now. Every year, this group gets stronger and stronger and stronger and becomes more and more of a cohesive group. Now, I know this is your first year, but having been around since day one, I could see the progression. Those conversations used to only happen when we put something in and we asked a question. Now it's like we're like trying to hold on and follow along with you guys. You're pulling us as opposed to the other way, which is really good to see from an administrator standpoint anyway. All right, we're up out of time. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Randy, for agreeing to be interviewed and share a little bit about yourself. Next time I'm in the Maryland area, I got to catch a concert with you.
yeah.
All right,
Sounds good.
see you later. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good one.